Welcome into a fresh hour of CBS Sports HQ. NFL rosters are fully under construction. My name is Madeline Burke alongside CBS Sports NFL analysts Emory Hunt and Ryan Wilson. Guys, the NFL's free agency negotiation period is open. Let's just say it's a good day to run a moving company. And while moves can't officially be made official until Wednesday at 4 p.m., a lot of official there, 4 p.m. Eastern when the new league year starts. Teams and free agents are already deep in the deal-making process and getting things agreed to terms. And let's start with some of the things that we saw on Monday. Tua Tagovailoa quickly found a new home after being told he was being released by the Dolphins. Tua plans on signing a one-year deal with the Falcons, according to our Jonathan Jones. He'll compete with fellow lefty Michael Penix Jr., who is recovering from a torn ACL for the starting job in Atlanta. Malik Willis is signing with the Miami Dolphins. That's the latest from our Jonathan Jones. Willis will reportedly get a 3-year deal worth $67.5 million. It's the first major moves for new Dolphins GM John Eric Sullivan, who came to Miami this offseason from Green Bay. And the Raiders have made Tyler Linderbaum the highest paid center in NFL history. He's agreed to a 3-year, $81 million deal with the Las Vegas Raiders. That's the latest from our Jonathan Jones. Linderbaum has been named to the Pro Bowl in each of the past 3 seasons. After 12 seasons, Mike Evans is leaving Tampa Bay for the Bay Area. Evans is signing a 3-year deal worth up to $60.4 million, according to our Matt Zenas. Evans has the 5th most receiving yards with one team in NFL history, but he starts a new chapter with the Niners. Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker III is headed to Kansas City. Walker is signing a 3-year, $45 million deal with the Chiefs. It's the biggest contract given to a free agent running back in league history, and he becomes just the 4th player to change teams immediately after winning Super Bowl MVP. As we take a look at some of the notable free agent moves from Monday, of course, wide receiver Alec Pierce, highly touted wide receiver, staying in Indianapolis. Odafe Owe, 4 years, $100 million with the Commanders. The Titans loading up on a lot of former Giants, Wan'Dale Robinson and Cordell Flott, also not pictured on this graphic. Moves being made as NFL free agency negotiation is upon us. And of course, all these moves agreed upon but can't become official until Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And lots of things going to be decided in that interim between now and then. Here I am with Emory Hunt and Ryan Wilson. Guys, we got to start with the best move from Monday. Emory, I'll start with you. What was your favorite move on Monday?
Favorite move, I would have to say that goes to the Raiders getting Tyler Linderbaum. I just think that was one of those guys that you had to come away with if you're a team that's looking to rebuild your offensive line. And when you think about what he represents the rock center point of your offense. Your center has to be outstanding. It helps out a young quarterback. It helps out the run game. And when your battery is strong, center, quarterback, running back, D-tackle, Mike backer, free safety, you're going to be playing pretty good football.
We spent a lot of time last season talking about the Bengals being truly and utterly terrible historically on defense. So they go out and get Brian Cook, the safety from Kansas City, and he is going to immediately change the tenor of not only the DB room, but how they play in the secondary. He was so important to what Steve Spagnuolo did last year and the 3 years prior that this is going to be a big loss for Kansas City in addition to Trent McDuffie. But I think it is a step in the right direction for a Bengals defense that has been so bad for so long that Joe Burrow feels like he's had to do the heavy lifting when he's been healthy. So I love that move for the Bengals, and Brian Cook is going to be a game changer, it feels like, in day one.
I like that. The Bengals have invested a lot on the offensive side of the ball. It's a good time to get some defensive investment as well. There's still a lot of big names out there that are, questions remain about where they're going to be ending up. Who is the best available remaining free agent, Ryan, in your opinion?
Eugene Cyril Smith III. I used to call him when he was balling out for the Seahawks. Last year, I just called him Geno. He is wide open in terms of his availability as a free agent. I love the idea of him going to Minnesota. We talk about Kevin O'Connell as a quarterback whisperer, and you might say, well, what happened with J.J. McCarthy in KOC? maybe this is who JJ is until he sort of figures it out.
Because what happened with Sam Darnold is another end of it.
Sam Darnold. We saw Josh Dobbs get off a plane and ball out for a couple of
Right.
games when they were suffering through some injuries there. So Geno, I think, can still sling it if you put pieces around him. There were 0 pieces around him in Las Vegas, and they're just one season removed from winning those 14 games with Sam Darnold. I feel like this would get them right back in the mix, provide JJ perhaps some relief that the pressure isn't all on him, and go from there. Currently, Carson Wentz is a free agent. You have JJ, you have Max Brosmer. They need to have a plan B, and they talked about it. I actually like Geno in Minnesota better than Kyler in Minnesota.
Well, I see your Geno and I raise you a Kyler Murray because of all of the things you just listed out. When you think about Kyler Murray and what he hasn't had in Arizona that he would automatically get in Minnesota, a great defense that can help him out and give him those extra possessions. And if they go and do the right thing in the draft and get Jeremiah Love, now you have the most explosive back you've had in your time as a quarterback. And I feel like Kyler Murray gets to play indoors, has some success, great offensive system. We've seen that be quarterback friendly for a lot of guys. So I feel like Geno Smith would be a good one, but also Kyler Murray being available would be an ideal fit for him.
This is one of the things you say. I'm going to throw it back at you. You like to say an athletic quarterback you pair with
any running back and a dynamic running back, you're going to have great success. And,
Spoken like a true running back.
well, because I know I need all the help I can get. And those guys tend to help out in offense as a whole. And Kyler Murray is probably looking for a bounce back.
All right, no surprise here. A lot of eyes on some of the quarterbacks that are remaining in the free agent class. But give me another player that you've got your eye on. Who are you looking at?
Well, we talk about Tyler Linderbaum and how he did a great job in getting signed by the Raiders because he was so integral to what you need to do offensively. But when you look at someone like Elton Jenkins, if he is healthy, that's the big preference. If he is healthy, he can play all 5 spots along the offensive line. And you're looking for someone that's probably the next best center in this free agency group. It's Elton Jenkins when he's healthy. But again, you're getting a guy that was a 2-time Pro Bowler coming out of Green Bay and someone that, again, with that versatility up front can help you out along your offensive line. I am shocked that he's free, but I understand. So some team is going to get themselves a gem.
I'm going to go with Juwan Jennings, who you wonder, it makes sense for him to go back to San Francisco for all the obvious reasons. You're in that Kyle Shanahan offense. Brock Purdy will get you the ball. He was a big part of what they did when all those wide receivers were banged up last year. But they also just brought in Mike Evans, so we'll see what that means for him. And if he decides to move on, I think a spot that makes all the sense in the world outside of the Bay Area, the Kansas City Chiefs, because they have a ton of needs at wide receiver. I mean, hopefully, if he can play DB, you might put him back there as well. But you have Xavier Worthy who can get down the field. You have Rashee Rice who can stretch it to the 2nd and 3rd level. Juwan Jennings can do the heavy lifting. He can be your upgraded version of Juju Smith-Schuster. Patrick Mahomes is coming back healthy. They got their running back now. Things are starting to come together in a division where they're not the favorites. They might even be the 2nd favorite in that division. So you got to power up the offense once again, and I think Jennings goes a long way.
You know, Jennings was, if, Patrick Mahomes isn't back 100%, he was a 5-star quarterback coming out of high school. So in that class, I had the Lamar Jacksons and Patrick Mahomes in it. So play quarterback, too.
The more you
There
can
you
do.
go.
Hey,
That's
I mean,
right.
we all need that emergency quarterback on the roster when you're drawing up the plays in the dirt and you're running out of stuff going on. All right, listen, we got a lot of offensive guys that we're watching, but Ryan, there's got to be a defensive guy that you got your eye on.
Yeah, and it's sort of surprising that we're 20 hours away from the actual Wednesday 4 p.m. Upon us, and Trey Henderson is still out there unless something happened in the last 45 seconds. And because we've been talking about him for 2 years as a potential trade candidate, and he's like us waiting by the phone for someone to call. I love the idea of him going to Indianapolis. Leatu Latu was the 15th overall pick a couple years ago, the first defensive player on the board. He has not quite yet graduated to that top 15 level in terms of the way he's producing. Trey Henderson will immediately take the pressure off of him. We know what he can do when he's healthy. I'm not convinced he wasn't 90% healthy last year when he told the Bengals, you know what, I'll just sit this one out until you guys do what I would like you to do. That didn't happen. So he's going to be raring to go. I don't care that he's 31, 32 years old. Get him into Indy. Get that defense going, and he would be great opposite Leatu Latu going into year 3.
Might be the most disrespected edge rusher in the NFL right now because he's been dominant since he stepped foot in the league with the New Orleans Saints. So I got to go back to the offensive side of football. I got to go to Elijah Vera Tucker. I am a big fan of his game. Was when he was coming out of college. Again, another one of these versatile offensive linemen that could play multiple spots up front. But when you think about someone like AVT, the preface, if he's healthy, he got to stay healthy because if he does, someone's going to get themselves a true stud up front on the interior of the offensive line. And because he's coming off that injury, you may even be able to save a little bit more because he doesn't have that leverage. But this is someone you definitely want along your offensive line because he's such a really good player.
It's like that theory when you buy a can of soup that's got a dent in it, it's
Bingo.
on sale, you know? And it's like the dented soup can, still good soup, but you get a little discount.
Just hope you don't get salmonella.
Listen, it makes sense if you don't think about it, right? Of course, the new league year starting Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern, when all these moves can become official. We'll continue to pontificate about what's going to happen. Emory Hunt, Ryan Wilson, thanks so much for the insight. Coming up, we talk winners and losers as the NFL free agency picture comes into focus. One day into the official negotiating window of NFL free agency, and many moves have been made. I'm Madeline Burke here with CBS Sports NFL analysts Emory Hunt and Ryan Wilson. Let's talk some winners and losers of Monday's action, and there was a lot of action. Emory, I'll start with you. What is one team that stands out as a winner that did well in the first day of negotiating?
I will say the Cleveland Browns. I love two of the selections or acquisitions they made. One, Quincy Williams, the linebacker from the New York Jets, Quincy Williams' brother. Tremendous speed. The reason why I love this one is because they lose Devin Bush to free agency, and you don't know if you're going to get JOK back for their football team. So having Quincy Williams there is great. And we talked about this all offseason, how they need to improve the offensive line. Zion Johnson was one of those guys that was flying under the radar, played his best ball last season, growing in the right direction. Now you add a guard next to your right tackle whom you've already signed or traded for in Titus Howard from the Houston Texans, and you're already on the right path to building up that offensive line to help out the run game, to help out your young quarterback, Shedeur Sanders.
No, I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm going to go to a team that was much beleaguered last season, the Las Vegas Raiders, perhaps more so than the Cleveland Browns. Had the first overall pick, so they knew who the quarterback's going to be. Traded Max Crosby, maybe not a great start to free agency in some people's minds, but they get 2 first-round picks, so now they have pick 14 as well. And then they are busy little beavers in the negotiating period here. Tyler Linderbaum, the best player in free agency, according to a ton of people, including our Pete Prisco. He solidifies the center position. You talk about the Browns doing that along their offensive line, so now they have Jackson Powers-Johnson. They have Tyler Linderbaum. They have the 14th pick where they can take an offensive lineman there. Benga Wayone makes a lot of sense for me. They also get Jalen Naylor, the wide receiver, to help with that young wide receiver core. They get Kwity Paye to provide some depth at the edge rush position. They get Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker to the Georgia linebackers. So they are putting pieces together to make both sides of the ball better for Fernando Mendoza, and they have a ton of salary cap space to continue to work with. They traded for Teron Johnson, by the way. They need help in the secondary. So it goes on and on. Look, a lot can happen between now and the start of the season, and we'll find out together how that works out. But they are taking steps in the right direction, and I think that Raiders fans should be happy. But like I said the other night, it's just that Mark Davis and Tom Brady need to stay out of the way and let the coaches coach, let John Spytek do his job. But this is a great start for the Raiders.
Yeah, keep the main thing, and it's always great to see a team not afraid to spend and invest in its players. And they're giving out a lot of contracts or a lot of agreements this first day of free agency. And you know what? We got to give out more flowers. One is not enough. So, Ryan, I need another team. Who's wowing you?
I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears. And this is a team that you talk about getting it right. So you get your quarterback in Caleb Williams. You get your head coach the next year in Ben Johnson. It can come together. So this is a blueprint for the Raiders of how to do it. So what did they do? They traded DJ Moore, got draft picks. And DJ Moore might be a case of addition by subtraction. And we know how that season ended for them. I don't think he was always where he's supposed to be in terms of running the routes properly. No longer their problem. So they get Garrett Bradbury. They trade for him because Drew Dahlman retires. That came out of nowhere. So now they have solidified the center position. They still have a draft pick where they can get a left tackle if that's what they need to do. They got Kobe Bryant, Super Bowl winner Kobe Bryant, in the secondary. They needed to update that. You talked about Devin Bush. Had a career year last year after bouncing around a little bit, and now he has made his way to Chicago. I love what they've done. They've done little things to improve themselves. I mentioned they moved on from DJ Moore. They moved on from Tremaine Edmonds. They have those replacements already in the building once it becomes official Wednesday at 4 p.m. And this team, I think, is better today than they were a week ago.
And they re-signed DeMarco Jackson, who stepped in nicely when injuries hit, and he played really well. A guy they found off the Saints practice squad, and he was out there playing really well for them. So they've done a really good job today.
This is a good one, too. Yeah, the Bears are a great one. Who's another one that's standing out to you?
How about the New York Giants? I love
The
what
New
they've
York
done.
Football Giants?
New York Football Giants.
All
We
right.
know they have a different moniker for different things. So I will say the New York Football Giants here because I like how they spent money on both sides of the ball. Darius Washington was one of my favorite players coming out of the draft. He's actually my #1 combo safety. He went undrafted, but when he was out there with the Ravens, balled out, was a starter. If he's healthy, this is going to help the Giants out in increasing the playmaking on that side of the ball. Jordan Stout, punters are weapons. You talk about a legitimate stud. I am a big fan of that move. Also bringing back Jermaine Illuminor, depth. Isaiah Likely teaming him up with Theo Johnson. That's a lot of athleticism for your young quarterback in Jackson Dart. And Tremaine Edmonds gives you a nice replacement right there on the inside. He's athletic. He's probably still 19 years old. When he got drafted, he was like the youngest linebacker in the draft. But he's a guy that still has that range sideline to sideline. So Big Blue has done a lot of big things so far in free agency.
And bringing over a lot of big purple, too. A lot of those Ravens familiarity, as we talked about. You know, coaches like to have players that they trust on the roster. Let's even out the podium, right? We can't go with just 2. Let's go with 3. Who's your third team that's standing out and getting some wow factor from you?
All right, staying in New York. I kind of like the food there and kind of like the atmosphere. It's vibing, it's happening. How about the Jets? The Jets did a great job, too. And sometimes you got to protect teams from themselves. The Raiders are doing a great job spending all the free agent cap that they have because they have to. But the Jets did a phenomenal job. Firstly, I don't know why Mika Fitzpatrick is always available. Like, he is always on somebody's team and getting traded, but I am a Mika Fitzpatrick fan. I like what he brings to the table that helps solidify them at safety. They needed that. David Onyemata, one of the strongest dudes up front along the line of scrimmage, played for the Saints and the Falcons. Tremendous. They needed that on the defensive line. Demario Davis coming from New Orleans as well. Leadership, kind of get everybody steady in the right direction. So I thought this, along with Joseph Asai, underrated edge rusher, that's a great value right there for them. They're building the defense. They will find a way to turn the ball over this year via interception. They will find a pick this year.
Are you sure?
I hope so, because you can't do that. They can't go back-to-back years without an interception. And when your head football coach is one of the best at picking the ball off in history. So I will say this.
You say they can't, and they'll probably will say challenge accepted. Don't tell me no.
Don't make history again. So I will say the Jets. I love what they did because they're setting themselves up with those 2 first-round picks to go best player available. They're still going to get better, and they still have one more move to make.
There we go.
Yeah, they got to get a quarterback, too.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
detail.
we'll see. It's a good start.
Yeah.
That's right. Focus on the interceptions, and we'll sort the other stuff out later.
Someone's got to have the ball.
I'm going to go back to Western Pennsylvania, the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they took some baby steps in the day before the official signings happened, but they're moving in the right direction. They got DK Metcalf some help with the trade for Michael Pittman Jr., gave him a new deal. He is a legit number 2. He is not a number 1 in my mind. Obviously, the Colts felt the same way, but this is no longer Indy's problem. This is a win for the Steelers and DK Metcalf and whoever the quarterback ends up being. I won't do the bunny ears for you there, Madeline. They got Jamel Dean in the secondary. They need help in secondary. They re-upped Asante Samuel Jr., who came back from that back injury and played really well in spot duty late last year. But Jamel Dean now gives them 2 physical outside corners along with Joey Porter Jr. And then, of course, Rico Dowdle is the next Kenneth Gainwell. I think we just start calling those types of players Kennys. He's the next Kenny to step up, and he's going to fit right in.
He's not just Ken. You know,
That's
everywhere
right.
else he'd be a 10. He's Uncle Rico.
He is Uncle Rico,
We're
throw
off
the
the
ball over
rails.
the mountain, and I think this is a good start for the Steelers. Again, we're assuming that Aaron Rodgers comes back. They have a couple more moves they need to make.
Yeah.
But I think Steelers fans are pretty happy after day 1.
Yeah, a lot of weapons, a lot of accolades, a lot of good things to look forward to if you're a Steelers fan. Listen, we're handing out a lot of flowers, but as we talked about in the green room earlier, sometimes you got to provide some constructive criticism when it's welcomed. And so maybe not everyone was a winner today. Who's maybe a loser on day 1 of negotiations?
Yeah, so producer Rich said go with the team. I'm going to go with the team, but you can read between the lines and know the player I'm talking about. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins. And while I thought Malik Willis did a lot of great things in his limited duty in Green Bay, it feels like he's being set up to fail down in South Florida. They moved on for Tua. We knew that was going to happen. No Tyreek. You talked about Minka Fitzpatrick. He's been traded. No Bradley Chubb, no Alex Ingold, no Lee Meichenberg. They even released a kicker, Jason Sanders. So I don't know who's going to be there to catch passes. This is the Will Smith looking around the room at the end of Fresh Prince. So I'm a little concerned. Thank you for acting it out in real time.
You're welcome. You know, listen, I don't know if we have rights to it, but I'm like, let me just mime it out.
The fact that I knew the meme is
I'm impressed.
accomplishment enough.
The very offline Ryan Wilson.
Yeah, so
Drop
this
the
is
meme reference.
big work for Jeff Hathley in his first year as the head coach. I think Malik can be set up for success. It just does not look like it right now. We talked about the teams that have done that, the 2023 Texans, the 2025 Patriots when they drafted, of course, Drake May, the 2024 Commanders. A lot of work needs to be done to set this team up for success and Malik Willis up for success. I like the Willis signing. I'm a little concerned about the roster it's currently constructed.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
Firstly, disclaimer. I hate the word losers.
Okay.
Because we know that's what people are going to hang on, right?
Areas of
Improvement.
Question marks
Yeah.
I have. Teams that I have questions about. The process. So I have to start in Tennessee because they signed a lot of people. Like free agency don't mean just go sign everybody. You know, made a big deal about signing Trubisky, backup quarterback. All right, whatever. Then you have Bellinger, former New York Giant. This was a trend for Tennessee today. You have Daniel Bellinger. You have Cordell Flott. You have Wan'Dale Robinson or maybe Wan'Dale Rice. The way they paid Wan'Dale Robinson, they paid him like he's Jerry Rice. So,
well, listen, he had those numbers last year when nobody else was able to be thrown to.
Wan'Dale Rice better be the new reincarnated version of Haywood Jeffries. And
big day for the slot receiver right there.
Darren Mason, Ernest Givens. We better see it all because they paid him like that. So my thing is, you saw a lot of former Giants go to Tennessee, and I know familiarity is great and a great thing. But the thing about the Cordell Flott, and I'm being serious now. The thing about the Cordell Flott and also the Alontae Taylor signing, which I love, is that they are both slot corners. So now you're going to expect one guy to play on the outside. So you doubled up on two similar corners. Why was that, right?
Well, Cordell Flott can play on the outside.
He
played
can.
on the outside quite a bit last season with the Giants.
And he had his best season last year, so maybe he's trending. But this was a team we saw out there. He saw a guy not play his best until he figured it out. So he and
Deonte Banks had that kind of
competition.
The
thing is it more of a sign of things to come, or was last year an anomaly? But you know you get the known commodity in Alontae Taylor. I thought that was great, so that money could have probably gone elsewhere. And when you think about, hey, I need my guy, so now you look at Robert Saleh versus, Brian Daboll. Whose team is it? So there's a lot of questions there for the Titans signing all these former Giants and spending all this money on day one.
And they got former Giants coaches, not just Brian Daboll, but Carmen Brasillo, the offensive line coach as well. But hey, the Giants and Jets had quite a few joint practices. So Robert Saleh, well familiar with the Giants roster.
That's a great point.
As well. Emory Hunt, Ryan Wilson, thanks so much for the insight. As always, winners and losers, day one of NFL free agency negotiations.